I'm halfway across the world in Australia. I finally made it. And guess what? The AA method still works. It works here in Australia. It's worked in Dubai. It works in Thailand. It works in Bali. Let me tell you about the recent case study I've just worked with here in Australia, where the mare came to me because it had contact issues. And we came to the real understanding, the primary reason the contact issues were there. So here I am in Australia working with new clients, new horses, people I have never met before. And I met this beautiful mare, like beautiful warm blood, 16-2, moves fantastic without the rider. But the rider is saying that she's struggling with contact issues, really struggling with getting the mare to soften, be consistent in the contact. And guess what they've done? Of course, as we all do, dentist's check, bit, it must be the bit. They said to me they're on the number 8 bit and nothing is working. They've got to the point where they are so frustrated, hence why I'm here. So I applied the AAA method, the method I use everywhere in the world and the method that I teach riders, I teach therapists, and I can teach you. Ask, assess, adjust. Let's start with ask. What's the horse saying? What's the rider feeling? The rider's saying it's heavy on one rein. Does that match up to what we're actually seeing in front of us? Shall we watch the horse move? Shall we ask questions? Is the horse showing the same behavior under saddle to not being under saddle? Or are they totally different? Assessing. So what I normally do is I like to watch the horse moving always stable, in the field, in the lunge pit, on the hard ground, whatever I have available, watch the horse move. Start assessing is key. Then start looking at what the rider's doing. Start looking at how the horse behaves. Start assessing when you put my hands on a certain area of the body, what is the horse doing? Do they move the same as the other direction? Remember that beautiful mare that I showed you in Bali, that she was totally different on the right side compared to the left? Only after speaking to the rider did the rider say, oh my gosh, under saddle, she's a totally different horse on the right-hand side. This was shown in the stable without me even seeing them being ridden. This is the power of the AAA approach. Now, going back to the mare here in Australia, doing a lot of asking, doing a lot of assessing, I came to the conclusion, and it was pretty obvious when we all started asking questions and started assessing as a team, because understanding a horse is a teamwork approach. It's not about me. It's not about the owner. It's about us coming together as a collective and working out what's best for the animal. Quickly came apparent that these seemingly focused contact issues was not the problem. It was the outcome, because, I don't know why I'm speaking like this, the problem, in our opinion, we're not vets, but as a team of people asking and assessing, was the horse had what I call, from my perspective, a restriction, a pelvic girdle dysfunction, which later on, doing more asking and assessing, the owner said she had a really bad incident in the trailer only 6 months ago, which, even though she was not lame, remember there's not just limb lameness, there's body lameness, which can also be very cleverly hidden because horses are always on the go, and for protection mechanisms, they have to protect themselves and not look weak. The contact was not the problem. When I did further assessment, we all agreed that she was definitely more reactive down one side of her back where the saddle would sit. Now, let's start to piece together. She had the injury to the trailer. She had the pelvic dysfunction. She had tension through her saddle. Do you see why those 3 things could possibly be affecting the contact issues? Maybe. We then went into adjustment mode. Now, obviously, before adjustment happens, we've done a lot of asking, we've done a lot of assessing, and then we start to work with the horse in front of us. Adjustment, from my perspective as a body worker, is starting to apply the techniques I know, the techniques that work, maybe the techniques that I feel won't work, but it's always dependent on what the horse is saying and doing in front of me. I will never treat a horse one way because that's what I've been taught. I've been taught through experience and through feel and through watching horses for over 30 years and riding horses, which is so important, I believe, as a therapist, to have actually ridden a horse, to understand how they move and to really start to pinpoint through form and function, through anatomy knowledge, and through watching the horse in front of you, what is going on. So before and after every adjustment, it's a case of stopping, pausing, stepping away, and looking at the horse's reaction, seeing how they're responding, seeing how they're processing. This is what the adjust method is in the AA approach. By the way, it's not just an adjustment and then it's end. Then you go back to asking, assess, and adjust. Because then, for me, I like to watch them move after the treatment. Is there any difference? Sometimes it's not always good. Sometimes there's a difference. Does that difference mean it's good or bad? Okay, this is when you go back to asking. This is when you go back to assessing. And this is when you maybe need to go back to doing a different adjustment. One thing is for certain, and it's something that I know you know listening, but I'm going to say it anyway. Once you've had the treatment, your horse has had a treatment, it's adapting the management to then suit what has just happened. Don't do, and I know you won't do this, don't do what I've seen a lot of people do, which their horse has a treatment, there seems to be a positive response after treatment, and then it's a case of going back to what you've always done. Going back to what you've always done will get you what you've always gotten. So we then have to come up with a plan, understanding of what the next stage is. And yes, it might mean that you have to adapt your training, your riding, your management for a few days, depending on the horse. I promise you, you will get further. You will get such a better result doing this in the long term than going back to exactly what you did before the treatment. Let me know if this resonates with you. If it does, drop me a comment below and let me know your thoughts. I'm very curious, and I've definitely noticed a pattern all around the world that this AA method works. And I can teach you this method step by step. It works with any horse in any country, what matter, any breed. I've done the rescue horses in Bali, the professional show jumpers in Dubai. I've done the horses here in Australia who are doing dressage at very high level, working at Grand Prix. This method works. Thank you so much for listening. Don't forget to give me a follow and subscribe, and share this video with someone who is struggling. Reach out.